Welcome to PRAJNA Sparks, a podcast where we listen to a Dharma talk, contemplate with our minds and in our hearts, and engage in guided meditation. In this episode, we're going to be exploring mind further. Every episode of PRAJNA Sparks takes hours to plan, record, and edit. We ask that, if you haven't already, you give us some time today to like, subscribe, share, and review our podcast. Alongside your own practice, this is the best possible offering as it helps the Dharma reach new listeners.
One taste. What a wonderful topic to encounter on this day of the eclipse of the sun across much of North America and beyond. Light and dark in contrast, yet coexisting, alternating, yet equally present. Of the four yogas of Mahamudra, one taste is the practice, the meditative experience, and the realization of the equality of all we experience. Now, that's not to say that the sun in its full splendor, bright, warm, and shining, is exactly the same experience as the eclipsed sun, entirely engulfed by the moon, dark, quiet. What it is to say is that the essence of those things, sun and moon, bright and eclipsed, and everything else that we experience is a unity. There is an equality to it, a complementarity that exists even amidst opposites of experience. So samsara and nirvana, pleasure and pain, good and bad, and so forth, exist as seeming opposites within apparent reality, and yet their essence is the same in genuine reality. In fact, even apparent and genuine reality have one taste, one flavor. When I first heard that phrase, I was like, gosh, I sure hope that one taste is chocolate. But that's not what we're talking about, is it? We're talking about the one taste of the essential experience, the core reality of things. This is really important because the Buddha and Buddhahood do not contradict our experience of things. They do not challenge them. Rather, Buddhist practice, and in this case Mahamudra in particular, pierces the veils of misperception that cloud our experience from the wholeness of what lies before us. Not just the brightness, but the darkness, which is the contradistinction, the way we understand brightness as bright. There is a unity of brightness and darkness. They are interdependent in this way. You cannot have the idea, the understanding, even the experience of brightness without its contrasting experience. And yet, their essence is one taste. That one taste is the emptiness. Shunyata, the Sanskrit word typically translated as emptiness, refers to the infinite potentiality of all things, all moments, all mind. The practice, meditative experience, and realization of one taste in Mahamudra is a process of recognizing things as they are. We recognize that opposites are not actually in conflict. They are a complementarity of relationship. They are, as the great Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh would put it. But it's more than that still. It's not so much that what we experience, all the phenomena of our life, are superior and that their essence, their emptiness, is hidden and subservient. Emptiness is also not superior to our phenomenal experience. Rather, there is a decided unity between our phenomenal experience and its essence, shunyata, infinite potentiality. Indeed, even the mind that perceives and the phenomenal world it experiences share this unity, this wholeness, this interdependence. Perhaps the subtlemost level of interdependence is precisely that. Nothing exists exactly as we perceive it, except in our own mind, colored by our experiences, our background, our history, our projections, and so forth. The practice, meditative experience, and realization of the yoga of one taste leads us progressively to eliminate concepts that perceived and perceiver are separate, independent, one acting on the other. Rather, they interpenetrate, just as do samsara and nirvana, light and dark, up and down, and so forth. The more we experience this, the more we enter into this way of being, the more we recognize there is nothing to remove from mind and nothing to add to it. All is mind, in the sense that experience never extends beyond mind. It is always within its domain. We don't have to eradicate the kleshas, emotions that disturb mind's natural tranquility, nor do we need to cultivate that tranquility. By the same token, the path is very much the experience of purifying mind, of the impact of kleshas and karma, and accumulating merit and wisdom that replenishes mind's natural richness. When we recognize the many dualities that we experience in the world as not being separate, distinct, out there somewhere, then at the same time we can recognize the fluidity, the wholeness, the unity and the oneness of the path, the very ground of Buddha nature from which the path arises, and its fruition, the unbridled experience of Buddha nature manifesting for all to see, for our own benefit and those of others. How are we to understand this? How are we to get some sense of one taste when we are still experiencing dualistic concepts and things opposing one another? This phrase, one taste, is a lyrical or poetic way of describing the omnipresent essence of shunyata that permeates apparent and genuine reality, samsara and nirvana, being fettered to one and liberated in the other, suffering and happiness. One taste is a way of comprehending our experience as a unity, as a wholeness, rejecting none and adopting none other in its place, being in a state of equanimity, able to be exquisitely responsive to all we experience because our energy is not cut down by judging this thing to be bad, that thing to be good. We do not run after this set of things to have and chase away those. In other words, we are not caught by the 8 mundane pursuits or worldly winds that toss us this way and that, trying to avoid the unpleasant and get the pleasant for ourselves. This all sounds so very ephemeral, so evanescent, so elusive. And to the extent that we're not experiencing things as they are, it is all that. At the same time, it is accessible, ours, and easy. It is not only the nature of all things, it is the nature of our mind and the nature of our experience of things within that mind, by that mind. So much of Buddhist meditation is precisely about this. It's quite simple, and yet there's so much to say about it because we are caught in the habit of opposites instead of the openness of receiving the wholeness, the unity, and the complementarity of all experience and all experiencers. Through the practice of shamatha, vipassana, and the unity of the two, Mahamudra opens to an experience that allows us to pierce the veil of appearances and encounter the emptiness that is not separate, behind, or underneath, although we sometimes use those phrases to get an inkling of what we're talking about. Rather, the emptiness is the very essence of what we experience. Mahamudra practice is what opens us to a moment-by-moment experience of that reality here and now, for the sake of ourselves and all that lives. To contemplate the yoga of one taste, the third of the Four Yogas of Mahamudra, we can consider some quotes from the scriptures and stories of masters of old. Saraha says, "The authentic teacher is one who realizes that everything in existence is flavored with one meaning, the meaning of emptiness." Shavaripa says, "There are many rivers in India, such as the Ganges and so on, but they all merge into one ocean that is salty to taste. Similarly, when we examine the mind, we find a mind and mental events, but in their true, authentic condition, they all have the same flavor." Pagmodrupa says, "Phenomenal appearance or non-appearance, mind and emptiness, emptiness and non-emptiness. All dualistic concepts are undifferentiated in their true condition. The temporal concepts of simultaneity and subsequentness do not apply. Understanding and non-understanding, meditation and non-meditation, conceptual proliferation and non-conceptuality are also purified in the state of one taste." Jie Sheng tells us, "Misery may not completely disappear immediately upon realizing the truth of non-duality. Who can deny that someone has attained the path of insight, even though they have yet to realize the complete qualities? The early morning sun can neither melt frozen water nor heat the ground and stones at once. Yet who can deny the existence of the sun? When the one taste stage dawns, one will cognize the characteristics of mind. One will realize that the diverse things of samsara and nirvana arise from the mind's non-discriminatory dharmakaya, appearance and absence of appearance, stability and absence of stability, emptiness and absence of emptiness, clarity and absence of clarity, are all of one taste in the luminous Dharmakaya. Listen and consider these quotes, apply them to your own experience, and hone your understanding of the words therein to fully contemplate the meaning behind the words.
This is Zopa and Yeshe for PRAJNA SPARKS. Be sure to join us every month on the new moon for fresh episodes. Stay tuned now for a guided meditation. Shivnee is our Tibetan singing bowl artist. Thanks for the generosity of giving us some time out of your day to like, subscribe, share, and review PRAJNA SPARKS. It really does help us to spread the gift of Dharma to new listeners. If you have any questions, contact us via email, Instagram, or Facebook. Check the episode notes for those links and for more resources on today's topic. Visit us on the web at prajnafire.com or follow us on Instagram and Facebook at PRAJNA SPARKS. Thank you for listening. May all beings benefit. Hello, friends, and welcome to this meditation, exploring just a little bit, one taste. To begin our meditation, take one seat, meaning just come into the present, find your meditation posture that is both supportive, uplifted, and calm, relaxed, a posture of body that communicates to oneself that one is here, arrived in the present moment. Take a moment just to settle in, to feel the support of the earth beneath you, the spaciousness of sky around you, and you in this present moment, this beautiful nexus point between earth and sky, spaciousness and groundedness. Take your seat. Having come into the present moment, now we will establish one-pointedness through tranquility meditation, where we're cultivating calm, settled, yet alert state of mind that remains one-pointed on its focal object. Being very aware of any deviation from it, whether that's due to going after thoughts or sinking into dullness or sleepiness, and applying whatever antidote is needed to bring mind back to one-pointed attention. We can use the breath as our meditation object, or any other focal object for the meditation that feels appropriate to you in this present moment. If you're using the breath, just allow it to flow naturally, resting attention gently on the in and out of the breath, using it as the anchor for the awareness to sharpen and clarify even as we remain relaxed and attentive, letting mind settle. Let's practice like that for a couple minutes. In this calm, settled, alert state of mind, we're going to do some initial exploration for ourselves into one taste. One possible avenue of exploration for this is to begin by turning our attention to a recent pleasant or unpleasant experience. Something that's clear. Doesn't have to be very powerful, but just an experience that occurred for you recently that is very clear to you that it was pleasant or unpleasant. Choose just one and call to mind the details of that experience. What were you thinking? What were you feeling? Having established yourself in that recollection of that experience, now dig a little deeper. Investigate behind the facade and the trappings of the experience to the essence of the experience. Let go of the details and dig in a little bit into what is the same about this experience that's true of every other experience. Explore and investigate for yourself. What's behind the details? As you investigate, there's ever a point of clarity, an aha moment. Allow your attention to rest one-pointedly on that before returning to the investigation when that subsides. Now take a moment just to relax, letting go of the investigation, coming back to the breath, to the ease and the settledness, letting go of any effort. And then again, we'll turn our attention to another experience. If you previously chose a pleasant experience to focus on, perhaps choose an unpleasant one that occurred recently. or vice versa. Here again, call to mind the details of that experience. What was happening, what you were feeling, thinking, all that vividness of the experience. And then again, let those details subside and dig beneath them. What was the essence of this experience? As a little aid to our investigation, we can remember this quote from Dakpo Tashi Namgyal, speaking on one taste. Everything that exists in samsara and nirvana, confusion and enlightenment, is imbued with the same reality, the reality of emptiness. So as you dig experientially into this occurrence for you, trying to get down past the immediate obvious feelings, assumptions, reactions of adopting or rejecting, preferences for one thing or another, trying to get down to the essence of that experience. Just look and see what's behind the details. What's similar in this second experience that we've chosen to focus on to the first one that seemed to be somewhat opposite? What's the same about an unpleasant experience and a pleasant experience? Now, it's very important to be clear that we're not denying or negating the experience, the facade, the dressing of whatever occurred. Just digging behind the surface. As we do this meditation, this investigation into our own experience, we may start to notice a blurring of the things that we thought were so clear, so real. Oh, this was a really good experience. Oh, that experience was really horrible. Starting to drop away some of the adopting and rejecting, the chasing after or trying to pad ourselves from certain experiences. Starting to recognize some fundamental quality of experience. As the texts say, the diversity of phenomena is united in the experience of one taste. If we practice this time and again, start to be more at ease and open to all the world and our experience, we'll also start to recognize our interconnection, non-separation of the individual and the phenomenal world, the perceived and perceiver, recognizing how intertwined they are in a very experiential way. Of course, conceptual understanding is not equivalent with the full experience and realization of this practice. That's why it's so important to continually cultivate again and again, experientially, this practice and the Mahamudra path and all the different aspects of it. I thank you for taking the time to delve a little bit into this vast experiential topic of one taste, exploring it together here today, starting to unravel a little bit very rigid reification that we can tend to place on our experiences, taking them to be real, just how we experience them, and starting to look beneath the surface, delving into the one taste of reality, of phenomena, of samsara and nirvana, of realization and non-realization, expanding into that expansiveness of experience, pointing us towards dharmata, pure being, our true home. So let's take a moment to gather whatever goodness has come from this practice and share it with all beings, that we may all come to recognize, embody, experience fully and completely the one taste of all phenomena, waking up to our true nature. Thank you for all that you do and all that you are.